Hi students, welcome to Vijayata IAS Academy Current Affairs class. In this video, we see what is the India's position at United Nations. And remember, India is a member of United Nations Security Council at moment. India is a member of UNSC. It is not permanent member, but non-permanent membership is there for India. At present, it is a member of non-permanent member group of United Nations Security Council. So India has responsibility to respond to this situation because United Nations is an organization created to avoid this kind of conflicts. So when this kind of situation arises, definitely United Nations should respond, and being member of United Nations Security Council, even though it is not permanent one, still India has responsibility to respond to this crisis. Now we will see what is India's position at United Nations in this video. First, it is a pressure situation for India. Now both sides try to garner the support of world community. Russia attacked Ukraine. Russia tries to defend its decision that Russia is going for war or declaring military. In its words, it is only a military action to defend or to safeguard Russia's security interests. But on the other hand, Ukraine says it's a war on its territory. It is compromising the sovereignty and integrity of Ukraine. Now, Ukraine expects support because Ukraine is a small country comparing with Russia in terms of size and in terms of military. So, Ukraine expects its support from other United Nations members. Because remember, Ukraine also one of the founding members of United Nations. Why countries joined United Nations? In times of crisis, other countries from United Nations member group, they support in this kind of situation. So now it is a challenge for United Nations as well, how to respond to this crisis. India being the founding member of United Nations, and also which respects international order, and also at moment it is a part of United Nations Security Group as well. So in this crisis, all these factors are creating pressure on India to respond to this position. Now let us see how India is responding and what is India's position at United Nations related to this crisis. So here, foreign ministry, now different countries, now this Ukraine part of eastern part, now it will have influence or impact on other countries now, because if there is any war in this part, now it will have catastrophic consequences like refugee crisis matter. Now refugees will move to other parts of the Europe. Now other countries are responding to this preparation. Now they are calling different ambassadors, different foreign ministers to get the support. On the other hand, NATO also is preparing for its war and it is increasing its troops in Eastern Europe, and now Eastern European countries are at the verge of catastrophic war. Now this situation, United Nations should stop immediately, otherwise the purpose of United Nations or the legitimacy of United Nations will be questioned. Now in this case, our foreign minister, he received number of calls from European leaders pressing the need for India to change its position, which has thus far not criticized Russia's action. So far, India has not criticized Russia's action. So European leaders are expecting to change this position. Now support United Nations Security Council resolution and vote expected on Friday. Now United Nations Security Council will respond. Now resolution will come into place. Now European leaders are expecting India to vote for it and to support this resolution. The resolution is to be brought by US and European allies, affirming the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Now you can see the phrase. These phrases are very important in your examination also. You can use these as it is. The purpose of this resolution is to affirm the territorial integrity of Ukraine. So the United Nations, if any member joins United Nations, what is the main purpose? What a country expects from United Nations body is its territorial integrity is protected. No neighboring country will transgress its territorial integrity. No country should enter into its territory without its permission. So if there is any violation, United Nations will protect its territorial integrity. Now this is the reason. Now this resolution is to protect territorial integrity of Ukraine. Now this split the entire world into two parts. Now whether to support Russia or whether to support Ukraine. And currently these are the member countries of some are non-permanent, 5 are permanent member countries of United Nations Security Council and 10 are non-permanent members. India is a member country of United Nations Security Council. Now if you take the present situation, now these are the military deployments of Russia. Now you can see this is Ukraine. All its borders are surrounded by military of Russia. Now this one, now these are all the black spots are military deployments of Russia. Now these are already explosions recorded in these parts. So this shows that different parts of Ukraine are already attacked. Now these are the explosions reported and Russia units prior to invasion. Now from all the sides, from land also it attacked, air and sea also. So this is the part, Crimea, it was annexed by Russia in 2014. Now Crimean part is now, this is why if there is any security implication, now this is the Crimea was once part of Ukraine. Now Crimea was annexed by Russia. Now this part of Ukraine now becoming a threat to Ukraine itself. It is used to launch attack from the seaside. Discuss the grave situation in Ukraine and how India could contribute to de-escalation efforts. Mr. Jaishankar tweeted about the call with European Union. So European leaders are calling. Now other countries are putting pressure on India to change its position. So far India has not condemned the attacks of Russia. The European Union, the UK, US have announced an unprecedented package of sanctions against Russia. Already US, UK and European Union already started imposing sanctions on Russia and have each separately expressed their hopes that India would also support their position. So they expect India also support it. In India also, in New Delhi, Ukraine ambassador to India also requested our Prime Minister to support Ukraine's cause. In briefings ahead of Mr. Jaishankar's visit to Germany and France last week, European diplomats have stressed that India would need to pick a side in the event of a Russian invasion or military attack on Ukraine. So before this attack itself, these countries are expecting India will pick a side. It will not be neutral side. So they want their side. To begin with, India must consider its response to the resolution on Russian action that US proposes to table along with allies, which would include a condemnation of airstrike. This resolution is going to be expected that condemnation of the airstrikes, immediate ceasefire, withdrawal of troops, and as well as possibly to put to vote punitive actions. Now Russia transgressed, now Russia now attacked, violated the territorial integrity of neighboring country. Now Russia should attract punishment also and strict financial sanctions. Now these are expected in that resolution. Now how India is going to take sides, now how India will respond is a major challenge for India. While the condemnation and actions will undoubtedly be vetoed by Russia. Now remember, Russia is a permanent member of United Nations Security Council. For permanent members of United Nations Security Council do have veto power. So they can, naturally, Russia is going to veto this resolution. If any member country, if any permanent member of UNSC vetoes a resolution, that resolution will not take into effect. So this is the situation, this is one of the limitations of United Nations. If all the 5 permanent members are on board, then United Nations do have the power to solve a problem. But if all the 5 permanent members do not are on same page, now crisis cannot be solved by United Nations soon, which is also at present holding the presidency of United Nations Security Council. Now it is not only a permanent member of UNSC, at moment it is also a president of UNSC. All eyes will be on where countries like India will vote. So this is a curious situation how India will respond and how India will behave at United Nations. In three statements, now he is our representative at UN. In three statements made at United Nations thus far, so far three statements at United Nations, India has refrained from any criticism of Russian actions. It also abstained on a vote to discuss the situation in Ukraine earlier this month. It abstained, it did not vote, and India has refrained from any criticism of Russian actions. Officials have thus far explained India's stand as a principled position based on pushing for diplomacy to resolve the situation. Always India maintains diplomacy is the only solution. It expects both parties come to the negotiation table and solve the issue. The deterioration of the security situation in Europe is a result of mismanagement or breakdown in big power relations. It is an opinion given by former Indian ambassador to Russia, and according to him, it is the mismanagement of big powers. Now, why India should be punished for their mismanagement? So now various quarters will have different opinions. Now different opinions will come to the table how India's position at United Nations should be. Now how this is a situation where United Nations should respond. If United Nations cannot solve such a crisis, now legitimacy of United Nations will be at risk. And also now United Nations permanent members are 5, non-permanent members are United Nations Security Council permanent members are 5, non-permanent members are 10. India is one of the members. Now India is aiming to take responsibility at a global level. Now India also wants to become part of permanent UNSC, permanent member of UNSC. Now under these circumstances, if India cannot play a lead role or if is not active in crisis like this, now tomorrow if India wants to become permanent member of UNSC, other questions will question the legitimacy of India's position. So now that is why now Indian diplomacy now needs a creative situation. Now India should think innovatively so that India's position in future is safeguarded and also India navigates this crisis smoothly. So this is about India's position at United Nations. So far India did not take side of any party. India always maintained diplomacy and principled position that only diplomacy can resolve the situation. It always expects both parties come together to talk on the negotiation table. So this is so far India's position at United Nations. Thank you.